Hello, you're welcome to my channel. Today we'll be learning how I made this bustier top. Yes, and with a flounce on it, or a flay, whatever you call it. Okay, so if this is something you are interested to learn, let's keep watching. Make sure to like and subscribe to our channel and share the video. So these are the material that I need. I used them about two yards of fabric, 1.5. They are roughly 2 yards. Okay, of Ankara fabric. So I'm going to set my fabric aside and let's get right into it. I've actually roughly sketched out my bodice. If you don't know how to do that, I will link it. I have a detailed tutorial on it, but I'm still going to explain. So if you follow what I'm doing, you'll get it. So that's my shoulder to my chest line there. And from there, you see that's my bust line, my shoulder to my bust line, which is 11. Then my shoulder to my waist line, then the full length of the top I did 26. I'm quite tall, so you use your measurements. So my shoulder divided by 2 is 7.5, which is what I have marked across right down there. So now I'm going to do my shoulder slope, which is 1.5 for the front. The back shoulder slope is 1 inch. The front shoulder slope is usually 1.5 for female. I don't know much about male dress, but for female, yes. So I've taken my shoulder slope. Now from the base of the upper base, I'm going to redefine my nipple, shoulder to nipple line, which is 11. I also have a video on how to take accurate measurements. I will link them in the description box as well, so you know if this is your first time coming across such a video, so you don't get confused. Okay, then I'm just redefining my chest line. So I've successfully linked it. Now I'm going to go from my shoulder to my waist. And please, we're working on the front panel first, the front panel before the back. Okay, so that's my shoulder to my waist. I'm going to redefine the lines. Then shoulder to my hip line. My hip line refers to wherever my top is ending. Okay, once your top is above 23, even 23, you still apply your hip measurement to it. Okay, so I'm going to redefine the lines like so. The length I use is actually 26, not 25. That's if you calculate the sewing allowance and everything added, it's 26. Okay, so now I'm going to add shoulder to my underbust. My shoulder to my underbust is 14. So please use your measurement. I always say that. So now I'm marking my waistline, my hip line, and now UB. Or I always write SUB, shoulder to underbust. Okay. Now I'm going to put my nipple pan. That's my dart line. Some people know it's that dart line, nipple to nipple. That's you divide your nipple into, you try to get where your nipple, your right nipple and your left nipple, whatever you have there, you divide it into two. That will give you your nipple pan. Okay. Then I'll just connect them like so from the nipple point, that's shoulder to nipple point, down to the hip line. Okay. I'm going to redefine it with my marker pen so you see what I am doing. If you're a beginner, kindly use a pencil So when you have mistake, you can always correct it. Okay, you clean and make the necessary corrections that you need for it. So now I'm going to divide my shoulder into two. Whatever I have, I'm going to connect it to my nipple point, that line, like that. Okay. So I'm going to use the circumference, that's from my nipple point to my underbust. Whatever I have there, I actually used it, but later I change it. So just follow, just in case you want yours to stay there. It depends on how revealing you want. I'm quite voluminous in my bust. So what I did was I went up again by one. Okay, after using the circumference of my nipple to underbust to move upward, and I found out that it would be too revealing for me. I wasn't comfortable about it, so I went up by one. Okay, so that means I did 7 from my shoulder, from my upper baseline to I got 7. So now I'm doing my dart leg for the upper part, my upper chest contouring. I did 1 inch, 1 inch. If you're not as busty as me, please, you do 0. You can do 0.5 or 0.7. Okay, but I always use 1 because I want it tight. Okay, so for my waistline, I'm doing 1 inch, 1 inch, not 0.5. Okay, I'm doing a full snatching, if that makes sense. So I'm doing 1 inch, 1 inch. Then from the hip line, sorry, it was not showing. You have to go up by 1.5 or 2 inch. That leg from the waist is going to stop there. Okay. So we've successfully done that. So now what I'm going to do on my underbust, I'm doing my underbust contouring. I will go in on this other side by 1 inch, and on this side I'll go in by 2. I do 2, 1.5, depends. Depends on what I'm making for myself. And please, if your bust is not up to 4, okay, 38. If you're from 38, 39, 40, you can do 2 or 1.5, okay, on this other side. But if you're above 40, from 42, you can do 2.5. 42 to like 43, 44, 45, you can do 2.5. But once it's above that 45, use 3, okay? I hope you're following what I'm saying. If it makes sense, then just connect all the sharp edges like so. I'm just blending off all the sharp edges. So this is what we have. I actually replaced it, but it was not needed. If you're doing a sleeve, like a cold shoulder kind of sleeve or something, you can do this. Okay. I replaced it, but I later did use it. So for my dart, I only replaced one part of the dart. Given the dart I took out 2 inch, if that makes sense. But anyways, this is how I take my measurement. I'll measure what I have left, what I have from here to the dart leg. I will turn the tape to the other side. What I have left, for example, if my waist is divided by, my waist is 34, divide by 4 will give you 8.5. So if, for example, I have 4 on this other side, then from this other leg, I'm going to put 4.5. Okay, that means my measurements are actually accurate, if that makes sense. Even if I've removed the dots, that's how I take my measurements. So do what works for you. You can decide to put your straight measurement, then whatever you took out from the dart, you replace it on the other side. But this is how I do mine, and it's working for me perfectly. So I've added all my measurements. I'm going to add my bust measurement. So this explanation, I did it around where all the darts were taken. Okay. So this is me putting my measurement. So for the upper chest, I took out 2-inch dart and I replaced 1 inch. Okay. I did 1 inch on this side, 1 inch on this side. So what I only did was I replaced 1 inch. The other 1 inch, I did not replace it. That is what will give you that snatch. Okay. So I'm going to connect like so to the hip line. And now that we've done this, I'll blend off any sharp edge that I have. So now I'm going to put my bust dart from my nipple point. I'll go down by 1.5. That's the difference between my front measurement and my back measurement. Okay. Like I said, I'm going to link how to take accurate measurements and how to draft a basic bodice in the description box, because you will get all the main information there because it's well detailed. So now this is what we have. I'm going to go down from the new chest line that I have by 1 inch. Okay. Then I'll make a slight curve. Like so. So this is what we have. Here I'm trying to connect my round sleeve. Okay, that's my armhole. See the way I'm doing it. So it has to go down a little from the main distance, maybe like a little like so that when you sew, it doesn't go up to choke you. So here, this is not actually necessarily needed. Okay, you do it most times when you want to close a dart in case so that you don't have shortage. Okay, but you can skip this part, and when you close it, you blend off the open, which we'll get to later. So this is going off. This is me trying to tell you that when you close it, so it doesn't have a shortage and all that. So all these dart line are going off. These are places that we're going to be cutting off. And the side bust dart is going to be closed. So now we're done with the front. Let's work on the back. This from the difference between, you remember I said my bust dart is 1.5. So I'm going to go up from the baseline of the front panel, which is the 25. I'm going to go up by 1.5. Okay. So that means we now have a new line for the back. So the difference between your front measurement and your back measurement, your front half length and your back half length, is what I just did. Now for my own measurement, that's why you need to know how to take accurate measurements. Okay. Some persons have 2-inch difference, 3-inch difference, doesn't really matter. So now I am going to take my half length. My half length for my back is 15.5. Okay. My front half length is 17. Okay. So when you minus 15 point, that's where I got my 1.5 from. Okay. So it's not confusing. Now I have to mark it across the 15.5 so that I have a straight line when I connect. Okay. So this is my back waistline. So I'm taking my shoulder slope, which is 1 inch. The round neckline is not needed though, but for tutorial purpose, so that you see where it's starting from, I did 3. And I didn't say that in front is 3. Okay. So I'm going to connect my shoulder slope back to that place. That's because I need that line. Okay. Now I'm going to divide it by 2. I'm going to put my dart leg. But before I do that, sorry, this was later corrected. Um, Before I do that, I'm going to do my back contouring first, okay? Yes. You see the line with the pencil that's not well defined. That is the baseline for the back, okay? So from there, I'm going to do my own body. I do 1 inch contouring for my back because my back is quite deep, okay? The back is not the same. Like I said, there's a tutorial I said that. So I just did 1 inch, connect like so, you connect back to the hip line like so, to that main baseline, okay? Some persons, you have to make clothes for them like over and over again. I don't know yet if there is an accurate measurement to determine what you're going to take out. You understand? I have not been taught like that way yet. Maybe if I do more of upgrade class, I may have to find out, but I've not. But this is how I know how to, because I've done clothes for myself. I know that 1 inch tightening is what works for me. So now from that new 1 inch that I went in, that's where I took my waist dart from. Then from the baseline of the hip bone, I took my hip dart. So you can see that it's not looking straight, but it is perfect, because that, your back is not, there is a curvy, and that's just it. Okay. So don't make it sound strange to you. So from the baseline, from those lines you've connected, the new lines you connect, that's where you take your dart measurement. You take from the chest dart, you take from the waist, and you connect all of them together. It might look bending, but it's okay, it's perfectly fine. So now from my chest line, I went down by 1.5. I think, yeah, I did 1.5. You can do 2, you can do 2.5, you can do 3, depending on how deep you want your neckline to go. You can even do 1. You can actually leave it with the normal standard way it is, okay? That is what I did, and I connected. You see the lines are equal from the back to the front panel. So here I'm going to do 0.2, 0.2 for the upper chest tightening of the back. Then the waist, I did 0.5, 0.5. Please, that's an error. You see that one is wider. I later corrected it. That was the first mark I did before I contoured, okay? So I'm going to correct it later. So this is going. So what I did was I removed 1 inch dart from the back and I did not replace it. Okay. I didn't replace it because I want it snatched. If that makes sense. Okay. If you're confused, don't be. Just when you use this method, if it works for you, let me know. There's what they call um snatching, like eliminating that waste, that bugginess there. You just remove it and don't replace. But it's not enough fabric. There are some kind of work you will do that you'll be needing it anyway. So now I'm putting my hip measurement and my chest measurement. That's my bust measurement. So here in the upper bodies, the upper chest line, I replaced the dart for the upper chest line. I said I did not replace my waist dart, but I replaced the upper, that's the 0.5 that I added to the upper chest. Okay, so it's going to make my back look awful. So you can choose to leave it, that's replace it only when you're cutting the fabric. But I added mine while I was drafting the pattern. So that's why the upper part is looking like, you see the ways you like, what kind of shape is this? It's perfectly fine. It's okay. Okay. That's because I replaced this. Okay. I'm trying to show you that I did that. So we're done with, almost done with the back panel. That's my hip line. I marked it wrongly before, okay? So now I'm going to slit open the front panel like so, so that I can close the side dart. So that new mark that I put for the hip line, it's not actually, it's the dart. You see that dart within, that's very close to the hip line, was what I replaced. Like I said, I did not replace my waist dart. My waist was snatched out. Okay, I removed 1 inch from my back waist. I also removed, so if that makes sense, I hope you understand. Not to confuse you, but if you're feeling, you can always, you can reach me on my handles if you have questions. My Instagram handles, you can actually get me on WhatsApp, on my WhatsApp, through my Instagram, if you log on to my Instagram wall. Okay, so just drop your message, I will respond as soon as possible, because it helps me know that I'm actually making impact. Okay, and please make sure to like our video, subscribe to our channel, turn on your notification bell, and always get in touch. Let us know if you try this out. It's a way to encourage us. That's the best thing you can do for a content creator on YouTube. Like their video, share, comment. It helps push the video to other people, so that YouTube knows that, yeah, this video is helpful. Like, people are seeing it. It makes sense. Okay. We will really appreciate that. So I slit open the shoulder just to close my bust, that like so, and see if there's any shortage, which I really didn't have. Okay. So you connect like so. These are, you connect, and if you have a tracing wheel, you can trace, so you know where the lines are. When you open, if you have shortage, you can trace it so that you can use your pencil to correct it. Because even if you mark with a pencil, when you open it, it's still not going to show. Okay, so that tracing wheel will help you with that. But if you don't, still work with what you have. There's always a way. So this is what we have. Now I'm going to, from this middle point, this line, I'm going to mark 1.5. Okay, this is going to help me know the length that I need for my strap. Okay, to mark out my strap. Sometimes when you're doing a off shoulder or something like this, you're wondering how many inch you're going to use and all that. So this is the best way to determine what you need to replace, to get the line that you need. Okay, that's the beauty of pattern making. So I'm still also going to do for the back shoulder, slice into two, divide into two, and connect it to that place, to my dart line like so. And from this point, I'm going to take the 1.5 I did as well. Okay, and connect it to the end like so. We're almost done with the pattern. So we're going to cut out now. You label, you put your arrow so you know where it's going up, pointing up and down, because we're going to glue it together. Okay, so you indicate the front, the back, the upper part, the lower part with the arrow, so that when you join it you don't make a mistake. So now we cut out. See the way I'm cutting this side? So it's just going to end on that line. I will extract my strap. So I gauged my sewing allowance, but I later corrected everything. So you could add all your sewing allowance before you cut. So now I'm going to put my zipper allowance. So watch how I'm putting it. My zipper line is starting from the new baseline that I did after contouring the back. Okay, you're seeing I did 1 inch all around like so. So I'm just going to connect back. And here we have it. For the back, I did not cut open. You can if you want to. Okay, I left it intact. So I added, it just indicates your sewing allowance and all that. I left it intact because I sewed it in. Okay, you can choose to cut out, but I didn't cut out. It's okay if you cut out. It gives it more defined shape. Okay, but I didn't cut out. So I'm cutting out the strap for the back. So this is it. I'll glue it together and measure the length. That is how I know the strap, the amount of strap that I need to cut out. I think I have 14.5 thereabouts. Yes. So if you do this, you will not be sewing and adjusting, if you just know what the accurate measurement you need. That's the beauty of pattern making. It gives you the room to try out your work and have a perfect outcome to what you do. So I'm just going to connect like so. And you see we have an even back line after closing the dart. Okay, so sometimes it's always so now I'm going to hold it down like so, because I just want to add the curve. I added a little curve at the side. Okay, so it's not straight. So I'm just going to go up by 2 inch from the baseline. I'll connect to the other side. Then I'll connect for the back side. I'll connect it towards the end of the dart leg. Okay, with a curve like so. Then repeat same to the front side. Mind you, this already has a sewing allowance. Okay, connect the other side. So what you're going to do is when you place it on your fabric to cut, you're going to only add 0.5 to this other side that you just curved out. The rest you're going to leave it because you're already added. But if you've not added before you do this, still add your sewing allowance. You'll get it right. Okay, I've already added my sewing allowance before I did this. So when I'm cutting in the fabric, I'm going to add 0.5 for that place. But you could still choose to leave it. That means you're making it go upper. Like that means at the end of your sewing, you're going to it will be like you went in by 0.5 instead of the 0.2 you went up by, if it's okay by you. Okay, so now I'll cut out. Please make sure to like our channel, to like our video and subscribe to our channel. And if you try this particular bustier pattern that I just did out, let's know the outcome. So now we're heading to the sewing process. I have gone to glue I have a detailed tutorial on how to do a padding for your bustier and all that. Okay, so I've padded my dress from. There are ways you can pad your dress from. Some people pad on the lining and also on the the sewing fabric. Okay, it's your choice. So now I'm going to sew with 0.5, making sure my notches are aligned. When you're cutting, please make sure you mark your notches. That is your underbust, your nipple pan, okay? Because it directs your sewing. For this one, I also notched the upper part, okay? Because when you don't notch, you get confused for the back pattern, okay? Like I said, I didn't, even when you cut it out, you will still be confused. You'll be more confused when you cut it out. So you make sure you notch, put an indication to let you know where is going up and where is going down, okay? Use your discretion so you know how to do it. So I'm just going to sew on the 0.5 allowance. Now I have sewn it. This is what we have. See, the cup is cupping. All right, this is what we have. This is what you should have after sewing on your 0.5 sewing allowance you add when you were cutting your fabric. Okay, this is for the upper body, the back bodies. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to join the back bodies, that's the back sewing fabric, to the front like so, with my added allowance. Okay, but to do that, if you just seal your zipper allowance first with a loose stitch, then you add, to help you determine your body measurement. That's how I did it. That's how I usually do it. Okay, so I'm going to show us that. Yeah, this is me placing the lining. The same thing, I'll repeat the same process to the lining. Okay, so I'm just showing you now. I've sewn my zipper allowance, so now I'm going to take the measurement. Okay, so when you do this like this, you will get a close fit when you sew. Okay, the other method works as well. Just do what works for you anyways. So now I'm going to take my bust measurement. When you're sewing your zipper allowance, please use a loose stitch, okay, so that it will be easy to rip off when you're done. So I'm going to repeat the same process I've done for the waist, for the hip. So I'll connect like so. Please, if you have questions, make sure to leave it in the comment section, okay? I'll repeat same. But because I snatched, like I said, I removed, I minus 1 inch from my waist, if that makes sense, okay? So because of that, I don't really need to contour my underbust again that much, okay? Just trying to cross-check if my measurements are accurate, and yes, it is accurate. That's for my underbust because of what I did on the waistline. So now I'm going to sew and rip that middle part open like so when I'm done sewing. So take to the machine and do same. You sew the lining separately, you sew the main fabric separately, okay? I'm just showing you that's for the front panel as well. So we'll take to the machine, sew and come back. when you're done sewing, you should have something like this. This is the strap that we cut out. So now I'm going to measure the length that I have. Like I said earlier, I think I have 14.5, which is, so we have 14.5. So the strap I'm going to cut out for the back and the front is 14.5. I'm going to cut it on fold. Okay, you can decide to cut on fold, and if you're cutting two pieces, maybe the fabric you can't fold it, you just cut two pieces and sew around, add your sewing allowance and sew around and turn out. So now I'm going to rip the front open, same as the back, but working on the front. So now we've done this, I'm going to measure my chest line. Now whatever I have, because we're cutting a flea or flois, whatever. Okay, from the zipper allowance, I'm going to measure whatever I have will determine what I'm going to cut my flare. Okay, so I have 40.03. So we have 40.03. So I'm remeasuring just to be sure. Okay, so that's what I have, 40.03. So you're going to divide 40.03 by 6.28. Sorry, that's the ratio to get your round flare, right? I have a tutorial on how to cut a flare, okay, and how to calculate fabric, to make it easy so you don't waste fabric, okay? Though I still showed it here, but just in case I miss some things and you need to get the full details, I will still link it in the description box. So when I divide it, whatever I have, that will give me 6 point something anyways. So so I'm going to add the length that I need for this is I need approximately like 4.5. Okay, but what I did here when I was cutting was that I did 6. So the total length that I need, 6 plus 6 will give me 12. Okay, I did 12.5. In that 12.5, you're going to fold into 2 and fold again. So 12.5, so I need 12 for the length. 12 plus 12 will give me 24. Okay, so the full fabric that I cut out is 24 inches. Okay, then I'll fold into 2 and I'll fold again. That's how to reduce waste. So you calculate your ratio, the circumference that you need, then the length that you need put together. It's going to give, what I have is I have 12. Okay, so if I have 12 going up like so straight horizontally, I'll have 12 vertically, right? Then I'm going to fold into 2. So 12 plus 12 is going to give me 24. If that makes sense, I hope I'm not confusing you. Then when you fold it into 2, you already have 2 pieces. You fold again, you have 4 pieces. Okay, so this will help you. That means you're cutting. I hope it makes sense. You need 24 by 24 by 24, if that makes sense, right? I think so. Just try it. You get it. So I folded. This is what I have. Like I'm folding it today. Okay, like now I'm showing you. I've already folded my 12 into 2, 24 into 2, which gave me 12 points. I did 24 to 12.5, like I said. Okay, so and I folded again, so I have 4 pieces. If that makes sense. So now I'm going to mark my 12.5 round. But let me point out that what I needed for it was 4.5. But I just wanted to be sure for the length. I tried it out and I found out that the length was too much. After I did this 6, that what I needed was 4.5. Okay. So in case you're calculating, you're not going to use 6 lengths. You're going to use 4.5 because after so you have 4, if that makes sense. But what this helped to do was that it gave volume to my work. So I now had extra to do a little gathers on. If you don't want the gathers, I just did a little gathers, not too full, but I'm pointing out my errors so you can correct yours when you're doing it. So we have fully cut out our circles. You cut like so first, the length first, then you're going to cut 2 pieces. But if you're using lining, you don't want to use the main fabric to turn it, then you set your lining and cut out your lining. So when you're done cutting out first, you're going to fold like this and check the under, flip open and see if there's shortage or anything is not equal, it's not aligning. You straighten it out, okay? You trim it to be even, okay? Now I'm going to fold another one because I'm cutting 2 pieces. The same like that. Now I've cut out the 2 pieces that I need for my work. So now I have 2 pairs of flay, okay? Because I'm using the main fabric as a lining, okay? If that makes sense. So now I'm going to mark my circumference that I need, okay? Which is 6 point, I think I got approximately 6 points. 6 point something, just approximate it, okay? So I just mark round like so and cut out. So what I have left is 6, which I told you that I reduced later because I didn't need it. It was too long. The beauty of the flay is that when it covers your bust fully, it's not going to be fine, okay? It has to, that's when it covers up to, when it's above your nipple point, below your nipple point, I would say above, it's not going to be fine. So I have to reduce it. Hope I'm not confusing you. So I slit open, then match. Basically, I like to sew round first before cutting my circumference, okay? It gives me a stable stitch because when I do like this, most times you just find out that it doesn't align most times. So I've been using that method for long, but because I got carried away by explaining and I went to cut round. So I'll just sew round, then slit open. So now this is me reducing it to 4.5. I didn't even know. I thought I edited this part out. Okay. So you wouldn't have to do this because you already know the accurate measurements. I made the error so you won't make it. So now what you're going to do, you're going to pin your I've sewn the zip first. This is in finishing that we're doing. I've actually sewn the zip, okay? Now you're going to mark, you see, I did the gathers like I said because it was excess. That's because of reducing the length, that's the depth, okay? So now I did a little gather. So what I'm going to do is you're going to put your cape or the flay on the main fabric. The strap is going to be on the cape or the flay, okay? But you're going to place it exactly on your nipple line, where that line you sew, that your dark line, okay? There and on the other side, you see the way I turned it, you have to also cross check when you fix it. Use pin to hold it and flip the strap up to actually check if it is straight after sewing, because if not, you're going to have issues. By this time, you should also fit if you're using in finishing like this, you should have also fit your dress to see if it is perfect. Okay, if you're making for a client, the person must have come for fitting like so, the skeleton of the fabric like so, before you add the lining, before you do your finishing. Because once you finish and it didn't fit, it's always a problem that you have to start losing afresh. That's the disadvantage of this type of stitch. Okay, so now now that I've done that, I'm going to place my lining because I've fitted it. It's I'm the one wearing it anyways. It's just for tutorial. So I'm going to pin round, and I'll sew from this edge, okay, down to the other edge, then top stitch. Then I will leave like 3" or 4" on the side seam. What I did was, okay, I've done that. I top stitched everywhere. Okay, the zipper side, you're going to sew the lining close to the main stitch of the zip. Okay, very close. Then I left open 0.4 around the side seam of the lining. I slit there open. That was where I turned it from. And make sure to top stitch the upper part and the lower part. Please take your time and do that. Okay, so it will prevent your clothes from bulging out, the lining from bulging out. Or another way to do it, you can reduce the lower part of the lining with like 0.5. Okay, so now I'm going to press down properly. Please, if you watch up to this part and you've not yet subscribed to our channel, what are you waiting for? Please kindly do so. Like our video, share, and let us know if you try this out. I want to know that I am actually making an impact. Okay, that what I'm putting out is really being used by people around the world. Okay, it's beyond, it's just that impact that I want to help people learn. Okay, and if there's any way I can make my video better, you can actually comment, leave on the comment section. I would truly appreciate it. Okay, so if there's anything you notice I should correct about how my video is going, please let me know. Thank you very much. I will appreciate. So now I'm giving it a good press, and if you're done, if you did it accurately, you're going to have this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you as well, even after top stitching. If it's a client cloth and you've made all the fittings, you could use hemming gun. Okay, you pass it through that place to the baseline and to the upper part, pass it around, then iron is going to make it stay. But this have to be done when you know that the cloth is fully fitted, everything is perfect, no adjustment needed. Okay, you just sew it to keep it firm. Now the place we open from, what you're going to do is you're going to take it to the machine, or you're going to use a hand needle. If you know how to do an invisible stitch, you use a hand needle to do an invisible stitch. I didn't do an invisible stitch for this. I was being lazy, sorry. I just went to the machine and I did a little close stitch. Okay, top stitch, just very little on it. Okay, and if you still turn it, it won't be that visible. You won't really, it's if you do it nicely. So this is what we have. Thank